There he is. A little bitty squirt.
Welcome to Colton Posey Fishing. Today Colton and Brad are in for a tough day. Colton is going to explain why during the fall fishing can be extremely tough for a few weeks and how you can target and catch active fish. So sit back and enjoy the episode.
There he is. I saw him come up off the bottom. He's on a trolling motor. There he goes. Got hung up on the trolling motor. Watched him come straight off the bottom. It was like 4 or 5 of them together. Got him on a flat side. If I can get him undone without getting a hook in me. Come on, bud. There we go. Pretty little spot. Whew, guys. So I've been getting some questions from you guys, and I've been noticing it too a lot on my lake here lately. It's that time of the year, and it happens about the same time, in my opinion, every time of the year. Last year, me and Brad went up to Gunnersville, and it was very, very similar. So what I mean by all this is the water temperature's changing. Everything's changing, and it can be a difficult time. A lot of content creators and a lot of guys that put out information on bass fishing talk about the bass flu and all this stuff that goes on. I don't think that's necessarily what happens. I don't think the thermocline has a whole lot to do with it. I don't really know how to explain it, but I'm kind of going to go over it today. It's kind of like a fishing talk kind of day, and I want to get you guys' input on it, see what y'all think. But either way, stay tuned. This is something you don't want to miss.
Today's conditions.
There he is. Come right out of that grass. That's good. Come on, bud. Jerk him out of the water. I thought he was had a large head. He got a pretty large head. So we're dealing with super tough conditions today. If you can't tell from behind me, wind's blowing like crazy. I'm talking like, what do you think, about 15 mile an hour?
Every bit of it.
So, you know, we've got a lot of wind. We had a lot of rain come in the night before, so the water's muddy. The water's cold. We're dipping close to 69 degrees in the water temp. And this can be a very difficult time. This is where I kind of get messages from you guys and where I kind of talk to my friends and other people, and you know, everybody's kind of saying the same thing. It's real tough fishing right now. Now, some people have theories this time of year about the fish. They get the bass flu and all this kind of stuff, and I've had theories over the past, but really being able to hone in the past 15 years of experience, this is something that I think truly happens. Not necessarily that they get the bass flu, but I think what happens is, if you remember 2 to 3 weeks ago, maybe not even that, depending on where you live, these fish were just munching. You couldn't reel a bait fast enough. You're ripping, you're flipping, you're stroking a jig, you're cranking crankbaits as fast as you can, and I mean, you're just catching fish on super fast moving baits, and then all of a sudden it's like, where did all my fish go? I'm not really catching any fish. I believe what really happens is the water temperature comes down at a quick rate, okay? As that thermocline starts to push up, and as that water temperature starts to drop at the surface level, I think these fish that are closer out towards your main lake and stuff, they just their metabolism slow down. So what happens when your metabolism slows down? You don't really need to eat as much. So, you know, most of these fish that I catch this time of year, they're fat. I either catch a decent one or I catch some short stubby ones. But you know, either way, they're healthy, they're full, they got pretty colors on them, they're healthy fish. So they don't necessarily need to eat a whole lot. Now you may be asking, and this is the question that I get a lot, how long is it gonna take these fish before they start feeding heavily again? And we're gonna get to that in just a second.
Question of the day. What is the #1 selling fall bass fishing lure? Comment your answer below.
pile of them. Look at them. Come off the bottom, they come after my crankbait. All right, we need to just let this cruise us on down. We'll turn around. Got it? Got him. Large head. Golly. Did you see that? Chased it all the way out. Yep, there they are. They're right here. Good? Oh yeah. Good large head.
Good. Appreciate the bite, dude. Sure. Chunky boy. Going. Back down. Ready to eat again.
There is not a single most popular selling lure for fall fishing. Although we all have a favorite, so comment your favorite fall bait and why.
So, you know, one of the biggest questions is how long can this kind of funk last? How long is it going to be before these fish really start pulling up and feeding again? Typically, from my experience, just about everywhere that I've went and it's happened during that time, it usually takes about 2 weeks, okay? Sometimes it can last longer, sometimes it can be quicker. It just kind of just depends all on the fishery and stuff, and how long it takes these fish to get accumulated to the, you know, the water temperatures. So, you know, another big question is, you know, how do you catch these fish? Because it seems like it's so difficult. Well, you kind of have to play every day by ear, which is one of the worst things, I guess you can say, because you don't have something necessarily set in stone consistent to catch these fish with. But one of the things is one of the main areas you can always find fish, and this is going to be probably more important than using a bait, a specific bait, but one of the main areas that I would say to pay real close attention to, and this the top areas that I really pay attention to this time of year, and that's going to be the mouths of your creeks right as you go in. A lot of times these fish, especially in the sloughs and the little pockets, these fish will get in those areas and they'll just hang out right in the middle. It's those times where you're reeling a crankbait and then bam, you're getting bit like right as you get to the boat. Well, a lot of these fish will pull out and they'll suspend over however deep they can suspend under shad. Now, so that's one of the main things is to understand, like if you see shad in like 8 foot of water, then you can probably expect those bass to be anywhere from 10 to 15 foot. It all depends on the fishery, but you can always find fish doing that, especially when that funk starts to happen and, you know, it just becomes real difficult fishing. You know, on your less windier days, your finesse presentations like at Darthead Minnow is going to be perfect. Days like today where it's super windy, we're going to be cranking just to cover a lot of water. And we're looking for those fish that are a little further out or fish that are closer up to the bank. There's still going to be some up close to the bank. And sometimes when these cold fronts come through, they'll push up against isolated cover like this single piece of wood cover beside me here. And you know, you may have to flip it or throw something finesse beside it, just something. Bang a crankbait off of it, throw a spinnerbait, something. But you just got to give them something a little different, and you've got to be patient with them because they're not going to be feeding all day, unfortunately, for the first couple of weeks. Now, after those first couple of weeks, those are the times that you typically get back to the lake, and it's like, you know, you're just catching fish left and right. It's just like, what happened? I believe that's what happens. I believe these fish, once that water temperature starts to drop, their metabolisms start slowing down, and they just have to digest all the food that they've been eating over the, you know, past several months. So, you know, guys, that's my opinion on it. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I really appreciate you stopping by. I'll see you next time.